This is the Get Savvy Show, brought to you by the Reluctant Leader Academy. I'm your host, Mark Terrell, and on each episode, I'm going to help you get savvy to allow you and your business to grow. We'll be focusing on the 3 elements that lead to business success: your mindset, your processes, and your skills. Hello, and welcome to this edition of the Get Savvy Show by the Reluctant Leader Academy, and I'm your host, Mark Terrell. And as anyone that's tuned in before knows, that we on this show talk about getting savvy about some topics that are either business, personal, processes, skills, and all that stuff that's important to get right when we are running a business. So today I'm joined by Adrian Peck, and we are going to be talking about getting savvy about falling in love with your business. So I think without further ado, I think I should bring Adrian on to join us. Hi, Adrian.
Good afternoon, Mark. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. This is the second time we've seen each other today. We're on some networking this morning, weren't we? So before we get stuck into the topic, do you want to just sort of talk about why you think this is really important when it comes to businesses?
Absolutely, yeah. First of all, thank you very much, Mark, for having me on the show. It's really, really great to be here. I've been working with business owners since 2011. I previously worked in a corporate background, but I've met and worked with hundreds of business owners since then. And the one thing I kind of see with them is something that builds up in the background without them realizing they actually fall out of love with their business. And it's something I'm really passionate about. I'm really passionate about that you put so much hard work in your soul and your passion into running a business, it should be fun. Otherwise, kind of why do it, And the business owners I tend to work with are kind of 45 years old plus, so they're getting quite, they realize how valuable time is and life is kind of getting to that time in life, really. And what's happened is what's crept up with them is they've ended up falling out of love with what they do, and it's not really kind of they're not out there ripping the reeds up every day with it type of thing. Mm-hmm. So I'm very, very, very passionate about it.
Yeah, really important subject, and really resonates with me because that's part of my backstory, is understand falling out of love and getting too engrossed in stuff that doesn't float your boat is something that I know how that feels. And so we're going to be talking about that in a while. But first of all, what we do on this show is that we spend a little bit of time talking about key motivators. And Adrian, you can complete a motivation map, and these are your top 3 motivators. So before you I'll ask you about them, I'll just run through what they are for those that are watching. So Adrian's top motivator is searcher, which is making a difference, doing something meaningful and worthwhile. Secondly is the friend, which is belonging, friendship, and fulfilling relationships. And thirdly, that freedom, autonomy, drive. So these are the top 3 drivers for Adrian. So the question I ask all my guests, Adrian, is these are your top 3 motivators. So how do they sort of show up in the way that you run your business?
Yeah, it's really interesting, actually. Those 3 have come up. The first one, the searcher and making a difference. I'm really, really passionate about making a difference in the world. The reason I get up every day is to inspire and empower entrepreneurial and ambitious business owners to build successful and purposeful businesses that make a difference and an impact in the world. And I was quite fortunate, I suppose, really. I've been on a journey myself over the last few years in terms of a learning journey, and I've been very, very fortunate to really find out what my purpose is and really get hold of that and manage to put a business around it as well. So the making impact thing, I thought, it's kind of belief that I had is that you had to be a kind of Richard Branson or a Bill Gates, and you had to be mega successful, and then once you had all that, you can then decide, well, I'm going to have a foundation now, and I'm going to start putting things back into the world and make a difference back in the world type thing, and in my communities and stuff. But actually what I've found through the work I do and also through an organisation through B1G1 is I've actually found that I can make meaningful impacts every single day. So my business is wholly aligned to making those impacts, and it's something that absolutely inspires and motivates me and really does drive forward what I want to do. And the interesting thing is that it's the more and more I talk about it, actually, the more it inspires and motivates not only the people that work for me and what people work with me, but also the clients and customers that I work with as well. It's just been a really, really interesting. The friend part of it, I suppose, is I'm a very caring person, I'd like to think, and I love matchmaking, and hence, last March when this horrible lockdown stuff all happened, I kind of ad hoc ended up putting a networking group together, which is how you and I have met, Mark. Networking for Good. And I suppose that's where that friend comes from, and that seek of belonging and friendship is I just love matchmaking. I love helping people. I spent 10 years out on the road as an AA patrol, and I absolutely loved those years of being out helping people when they're in distress and getting them back on the road type thing. And then the spirit side of it, I suppose that's that kind of entrepreneur in me, really. I come from a long dynasty almost of entrepreneurs. I had a very famous, she was my great-grandmother or great-great-grandmother, Mabel Peck, who was quite a force to be reckoned to back in, I think it's around about the wartime, the Second World War time. She had a shop where she used to sell second-hand clothes, and she was extremely well known. And she done it out of a passion of wanting to help people and wanting to, when times were really hard, she wanted to help people and redistribute clothes once the children have worn out, grown out of them type stuff. And that's kind of what she done. So that's kind of where that spirit comes from, I think, deep in my roots.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think it's interesting you mentioned the networking and the friend. That sort of links really nicely to that belonging thing, which is quite unusual with entrepreneurs. But when you can find a way of making sure that that's being met, and realizing that's an important part of what gives you energy. And ultimately, that's what motivation is. Where do you get your energy from? Making a difference, belonging, and having freedom to make your own choices. And it sounds like you're fulfilling them well in the two things you do with your business and with the networking, which is great to see, which links in really nicely with what we're going to be talking today. So when you said, let's talk about how to fall back in love with your business, it's music to my ears, because it's part of my journey. It's how, I sort of, one of the inspirations behind my business is helping those people that have got into a position of leadership and not having the skills and not really want to be there. So when you're working with your clients, Adrian, what do you typically see? What's the story? What's happened to get them to the point where they've basically fallen out of love with their business?
Yeah, but it's something that really, really creeps up on people, and it's almost it's like one of those things when your kids have grown up, and all of a sudden you'll come to a family event, and all of a sudden somebody will go to your son or your daughter, go, Christ, you've grown. And actually, without realising, you haven't quite realised the fact that your son's now like 6 foot tall type thing. And, the last time you looked down, you were sure he was 4 foot. And it's kind of one of those things in life where the business owners that I work with they've normally, they have typically been good at doing something, and they've ended up building a business around it. And that business has grown and grown and grown. And they've, you talk about a lot, Mark, they've ended up employing people, and they've become this kind of reluctant leader. They've moved away from a lot of the things they enjoy doing. So they're not doing the technical part. They might still do parts of it. They certainly aren't doing the technical part that they used to really love doing. And they've got all this stuff they have to deal with every day, whether that's customers, suppliers, HMRC, health and safety, insurance, premises, the local council in terms of sorting out rates, the landlord because the roof's fell in. You got all this other stuff and noise that goes on every single day, and without realising it, that's what their day looks like. They turn up on a Monday morning, they reluctantly get out of bed. It's kind of classic Bob Geldof, I really don't like Mondays anymore, and they think, right, okay, this week's going to be different. This is my to-do list, and I'm gonna get these really couple of key things done this week. I'm really absolutely focused on it. And then all of a sudden, without realising it, it's Friday again. And they've gone, where did that week go? Where did that all week go? And I haven't done anything I really enjoy doing, haven't done anything I really wanted to do. And then it's, weekend, and it's back into Monday again. And it's that kind of groundhog day that they start going through. But what the bit is that they don't realise this. It's just something that happens so slowly over time. And that's the kind of bit where when they actually do stop, and kind of using the football analogy, stop and put a foot on top of the ball, and they stand still for a minute and go, wow, I wish I could go back to. And they'll talk about a time in the past when their business was a bit simpler. They employed slightly less people, and there was a real buzz about it all, and they're really enjoying that. It was kind of their purple time, it was a real purple time in their business. And they go, yeah, I just want to get it back to where we were 3 or 4 or 5 years ago when it was really good and we were doing this. And then you kind of realise then, when you start talking to them, and you kind of pull out of them, well, what stops you going back to those times? And they kind of have that moment, that dawn that goes, because I always have a bloody stuff to do. I can't do that anymore. I've got all this stuff to do. So, well, but it's your business, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it's not as simple as that. That's not as simple as that, Adrian. It really isn't as simple as that. Well, it is, because actually, are you really, really happy doing what you do now? You talk about that time 3 or 5 years ago, and they'll go, well, no, not really. I don't love it as much as I used to. Mondays is I reluctantly get out of bed. I'd much rather be on holiday. I'd much rather do this. And the age of the business owners, like I said, really, I work with kind of business owners that are kind of 45 to 60 years old. and they are, males, and they've kind of got through their life stages in terms of their kids are kind of growing up more, and they're starting to have that freedom back again. But they've got this noose around their neck, which is their business, and it is actually really sucking the life out of them. And they just need to get back to, actually, let's get back to enjoying it.
I'm sure that story resonates with a lot of people, because I think, in my experience, one of the roles that we have to play is almost actually, first of all, give them permission that actually it's your business. You can have whichever role in this business that you want. Have you ever thought of it like that? Is that, I mean, and actually, one of the things that I get my clients to do as an exercise is write your own job description, the way you'd want it, not the job that you've got now, but the one that you would apply for if it was in your. And they said, well, why am I doing that? I said, well, because you can do that. It's your business. You could do what, and it's just giving them permission sometimes just to say, well, okay, I get the idea now, and just starting to get that mindset change. Yeah.
Absolutely, and you kind of, it's never going to be 100% perfect. There's always, even with your hobbies, I love playing golf, but there are moments when I'm playing golf, I'm not 100% enjoying it, but overall of it, I do enjoy playing golf, and I can obviously tweak my game and work harder and harder on my game, so I enjoy more and more playing golf. There's the same in your business. You are in control. You are the business owner, and like you say, you absolutely have permission to make that job what you want it to be. And there's invariably, and if you read, I read Mark Randolph's book year before last, which is the basic story of Netflix. And he knew he wasn't the right person to run Netflix when it finally really, really grew and flew. And actually, just after it floated is when he came out of it. And he goes off and does other stuff now, because he knew he wasn't the right person to run it long term. So there's, again, part of it as being a business owner, as an entrepreneur, you've got to realize where your skills are, and where actually you need to put other people in place to do some of the stuff that actually you don't like doing, and you probably aren't that good at it. And that's kind of really key in it. And why spend 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 hours at work doing something that you really don't enjoy and you are in control of?
Yeah. And, we know one of your top 3 motivators is that spirit motivator. And, entrepreneurial wise, most people have got that in their top 3. They want freedom. They set up the business to get freedom. And what happens? They get less freedom than they had when they were employed. So it's like, and I think it's because they're just making decisions from the wrong viewpoint. Is that how you see things? They're just seeing things as an employee as opposed to a business owner. Is that sort of something you sort of come across?
I think what just is that period that happens over time, and they end up doing stuff they don't actually quite realise they're doing. You've got to remember that kind of well over 80% of what we do in life is habitual. So we go through these motions every single day. And if you sit and watch your staff and watch your team, it is absolutely fascinating. And you see their habits that they have every single day, and trying to knock them out of their habits is a whole other episode. But so what happens over time is that you slowly get that stuff knocked out of you, because you're then doing other stuff, doing the stuff that you don't really want to do. One of the things that happen when I've worked with business owners, and I'm working with business owners, and we start changing what they do, and we get the team involved in it. The team will often say, and so many times, it might have been, Margaret from accounts is saying, I've been telling him to do this for years. He would never let me do this, and I've been trying to get this off him. He's not very good at this, and if he just let me do, I could do it in half the time and twice as good. And a lot of the team know about it, but they just have that control over it and go, I can't let control this. It's my baby. I've been doing this for ages. I can't let go and let somebody else do it. But one of the things, the most amazing thing that comes out of it is when you get the business owner and the entrepreneur doing the stuff that they really like, actually it's the stuff they're really, really good at. And the business starts to fly and they start to fly again because they get focused on doing all the stuff that they're good at.
What I like to do, Adrian, is do the soldier test, so shoulders test, I should say. So start talking about their business and just look at their shoulders. So when their shoulders are down, it's when the thing to look out for is when their shoulders go up and they start picking up. And that's the moment you think, right, now I know that's what sparks them. That's what gets them out of bed. That's what they want to do more of. And just by mirroring that back to them, I just noticed when we started talking about X, you suddenly perked up, your tone changed, you sat up, your shoulders sort of came up. Is that something you detected? And just by giving them that sort of, oh yeah, God, yeah, you're right. And it's something that probably they would never be able to they wouldn't be able to see it, but by sort of reflecting that back, it's what they need to start thinking, well, yeah, now you said it, that is what really gets me out of bed.
Absolutely, and it takes a third party, and it invariably, and this is where business coaches, consultants, business advice people, this is where we really earn our bread and butter, really, and where we really deliver value, because you can't see it yourself because you're so stuck in the woods. And it's the same with everything. It's the same for business coaches and advice. We're the same thing. How easy do you find it giving advice to somebody else? It's just one of the things we do in life. When we sit and listen to our staff and listen to our friends and stuff, it's really easy to solve their problem. And it's kind of going like, Mark, why can't you see that? Well, because I can't, but you can always see their problems and solve their problems. And it's the same for you as a business owner. You need that third party to come in and just give you some friendly help and advice from somebody that can trust you and give you that different perspective. Excuse me, because invariably you lose sight of it and you can't see it. Yeah. And you're absolutely spot on, Mark. The times all of a sudden it's like you light a fuse in them, and they sit forward and go, well, what is it you'd really like to do? If you had the blank checkbook, money wasn't an object, what would you end up, what would you love doing? I've always wanted to do this. And all of a sudden they're forward and they're really impassioned, and all the enthusiasm and passion comes out and they just change. The whole thing just steps up again. So, well, let's go and do that then. Yeah, but all this other stuff, we'll find something else to do with this other stuff. That's,
At the end of the day, most businesses are started by someone's technical expertise. They've got something that they want to, do more of and have freedom to do it their way and solve a problem in a way that they feel is the right way to do things, as opposed to the way that maybe they've been told to do things in their, the business they're working in, whatever that was. And so, it's really sad to see when that spark has gone, because, they can't see the wood for the trees, like you say. And I resonate with that. I absolutely resonate with that. I used to, my early days in my retail business, I was well in charge of bringing new ideas in and bedding them in. And I loved all that new technology and all that stuff. It wasn't until I got in charge of the business and, leadership or whatever you want to call it, but basically managing people most of the time, that's when my energy started to fall, started to realise, oh God, really? Have I really got to do this for another X number of years? Not really seeing a way out. And that is so sad to feel, and I sort of absolutely resonate and empathise with that. So tell us about, you've written a book about this, Adrian, haven't you?
I have indeed,
took some time to write a book.
How to Fall Back in Love with Your Business, The Entrepreneur's Guide to Rediscovering Your Mojo and Enjoying Every Day by Living Joy. And that was written through all of my experience of seeing how business owners had fallen out of love with their business. Now, they might still enjoy their business, and most still do. Most still enjoy doing an aspect of it, but they don't really love it. And they don't love it what they used to. And like I say, they'll speak back of a time in the past where they're going through their purple patch, and everything was just so easy for them, and the business was moving ahead quite quickly, and often they'll talk about that part in the past, and from that point that, and it hasn't stayed purple, that actually now that they're starting to fall out of it. And if that hasn't happened already, they're on that winding path. And of course, as well, the last 12 months, we've had a really difficult 12 months. From a lot of business, but also personally, we've had a lot of restrictions put on you. Nobody likes doing that, especially entrepreneurs. So, there's a lot of emotions and stuff going on at the moment. And it's a great time to really start looking differently about your business and going, actually, how can I get back into doing the stuff I really enjoy? And how can I get the fun back? How can I get my mojo back into my business? And that's really cool.
We're getting short of time now, but I think before we wrap up, it's worth talking about the networking and the inspiration behind that, and what you want to create with regards to that part of what you do.
Yeah, it's been amazing actually. The networking for good literally came out of a few people kind of said to me, I realised that I'm part of For Business, which is a golf networking organisation. So we get to basically network off the back of playing golf once a month. And I was on a call with them, and it's basically a whole around the country. So we had a call with the guys on network For Business, and I came off the call and realised that I'm better than most in terms of I have a support network. I have For Business already. Well, what about all the business owners that don't have that? And how can we kind of, come together as a community and start helping each other? And literally this was about a week or so after lockdown happened. I kind of put a call out on Facebook and LinkedIn, and 1 week 10 people were supposed to come out and 5 people turned up, and then the following week 10 people, then it's 20 people, and it's grown and grown and grown. And we have just an amazing community of people that want to help each other. And I think it's a great time for the world to come together. It's not just, it sounds very grandiose in terms of the whole world, but we are a community of business owners and entrepreneurs. We have a chance to make a difference. We have a chance to help each other and support each other. We're all going through this stuff together. And what better way than actually do it, and to do it as a community. The one thing I've learned as I've grown old and grey is the power of the people. That you have the people around you. If you read all the great books and all the great successful people and the high achievers, they never do it on their own. It's never a solo journey. It's always with other people. It's always other people that have helped along that journey. I'm just reading Barack Obama's book at the moment, and the way that he put his team together when he was when he got into the White House and was obviously president. It just amazing way that he went through it. And he had people that he didn't agree with, people that were opposed to him as part of his journey. He got them on his team because he wanted that balance of views and stuff. And he recognised people's strengths. And I think as business owners and entrepreneurs, we should recognise that as well and build that community and go and help each other. And that's what Networking for Good's all about. It's been absolutely amazing, the journey. We have some brilliant people on there.
I absolutely agree with you, and I think the one thing that you say that really resonates with me is that entrepreneurs have got a role to play. Entrepreneurs are the people that are going to solve the problems in the world. Obviously, not just this networking group, but that's what impact entrepreneurs can have if they're given the freedom and the the resources to to get things done. So absolutely right. Adrian, I've really enjoyed our chat. It's been brilliant. And sadly, the time is running out. Just before you leave us, do you want to tell people where they can find you?
Absolutely, indeed. Yeah, my website is betterneverstops.global. If you actually Google Better Never Stops, you'll find me quite quickly. Or you just Google Adrian Peck, you'll find me quite quickly as well, hopefully, if the algorithms are kind to me. And just reach out to me. If anybody wants a free copy of my book, again, they just get in contact with me. I'll get a free copy out to them in the post. And it's all about sharing that good, the good content, really. And for networking for good, again, if you go onto LinkedIn and put in networking for good, you'll find us as well. And again, we'll put the links out to come on to that every Monday, 11 o'clock till 12:30.
Fabulous. Thank you ever so much, Adrian. Really enjoyed it. And yes, reach out to Adrian, get a copy of his book if you'd like to find out how you can fall back in love with your book. Great stuff. I will let you go, Adrian, and I will see you very shortly.
Thanks very much, Mark. It's great being on the show. Thank you.
Right. Thank you to Adrian for joining us today. I really enjoyed chatting about that. It's something close to my heart. And something else that's close to my heart is the new Get Savvy Club, which is just about to open on Friday the 15th of January 2021. You'll see the link below, and I put the link in the comments too. That is a club all about helping you on a personal level to lead yourself and learn the self-directing skills you need to be a high flyer. And from there, it gives you a great opportunity to move into team leadership, which is also covered within the club if that's what you want to do. So check out that club, and would be great to see you in there sometime. So that's the Get Savvy show done today. Thank you for those that have joined us. If you have any comments, if you pick this up on replay or it pops up randomly in your feed, then feel free to make a comment, tag me or Adrian. We're sure to get back to you if you've got any questions about what we talked about. And until then, until the next episode of the Get Savvy show, I will bid you farewell and see you next time.